What are the two types of marketers that you need to hire for your agency or your startup? That's what we're talking about today on the Biz Chat. Hey, I'm Kyle Racky, and I'm joined by Patrick Edmonds and Jennifer Faulkner, who are our resident marketers here at Proposify. I sometimes get asked, what kind of skills do you look for in marketers that you hire? I think that marketing is a very broad, general term, and people who I'd say marketing with a capital M, being somebody who's maybe taken PR or communications, like those are really good skills to have, but I don't think they're necessarily what you need when you're creating a startup, especially one that's sort of focused on small B2B marketing. So like Jen, when you came in, you were handling mainly content and branding and managing our social media. I mean, maybe tell the listeners the watchers, the viewers, whatever the fuck, what were your core skill sets and kind of how did you learn them? Like, how did you get into it?
Well, I think I came at it kind of unconventionally because I actually have a degree in Spanish. So I didn't go to marketing, I didn't go to business school, I don't have a degree in marketing. I have a Bachelor of Arts in Spanish, which is really helpful here at Proposify.
Sarcasm.
Yeah, but I got started a long time ago in the agency world and started off in account management and project management. But I always really had an interest in writing, and I got the bug about brand and the power of brand through working with agencies. So over the years, I just started to work on becoming a better writer and getting more involved in the brand development process to the point where I was able to market myself as a writer, as a copywriter, and also got involved with brand development. And so I've helped a lot of companies develop their brands and write different kind of copy. So
you had a passion for branding. I know the Culture Code, that book was important to you, and that got you started. People should check that book out. Who's that written by again? All right, we'll forget that. We'll look that
up
after.
Because it would be good to point it. Yeah.
But you're passionate about writing. That's what you do, and it wasn't like you went and got an English degree in literature to be able to do that. And I think that's a key point. That I think the best content marketers are usually ones who haven't gone to study marketing in school. I find that those marketers are good if you need somebody to do like market research and corporate communications or something, but it's not really the skill set that's needed to be an inbound marketer. I think you need somebody who's passionate about writing, creating content, and the brand side of it. But I don't think I'm insulting you by saying that what doesn't get you excited is like analytics and metrics and numbers and
no.
A/B tests.
I mean, I get excited when when Patrick tells me like our numbers are up and we have more engagement and that sort of thing. But I'm not really interested on the level that Patrick is on those details as they're happening. What I do love is the information Patrick gives me to help me structure my writing so that we're going to get more engagement.
Right, so Patrick came last year to Proposify. We kind of put the job out because we knew we needed somebody on the measurement side of things to help with who's really good at analytics and growth. And I mean, we were looking still for somebody with a lot of different skills in a lot of areas, but kind of more on the analytical, left brain side. And we got you from an agency. Maybe talk a little bit about your background and kind of how you learned your skills.
Yeah, well, I don't think anyone goes into any learning, like whether it's at university, college, or just trying to find out more information, knowing exactly I want to do this and digging their head in. A lot of people that I know that are really good at what they do have sort of fallen into it by a little bit of luck and a little bit of following what you're good at and what you like doing. So when I went to university, I applied to computer science programs, to information systems programs, to business programs. And then, because I knew that's kind of where things I lean towards, I'm more analytical, I'm less talented in anything in the writing side of things. So I ended up going to a university where I could take business, but I could do a minor in computer science, and in business I could focus in like finance and in marketing. So where other people might have leaned more towards a psychology PR type of side, I was coming from computer science classes and then going into my marketing courses and that sort of thing. And then that took me afterwards, lucked into a job at a media agency, which is probably one of the most data-focused marketing agencies that you might run into. So that was a little bit of luck and just fit my skill set, I think, at the time pretty well. And so you can actually use those skills to buy more efficient media for your customers. So that's where I kind of dug in and got very skilled at one specific thing, but then realized, hey, there's a lot more that these skill sets can be done more broadly to an organization, which I think brought me here.
And I think that's the real key, is that to do marketing really well and to grow, you need somebody who's sort of uncovering opportunities for growth and measuring growth and analyzing it. But ultimately, good creative wins in the end. Like you can push people through funnels and retarget them and cookie them and all that kind of stuff. But like if you don't have good creative, then it all falls apart. And I think that's where the power of having somebody really good at content and really good at analytics on your marketing team just can increase things tenfold.
Yeah, that's kind of the growth mindset, is that there's no point in pushing money into like paid advertising or marketing in that sense if your product isn't there yet, reaching your product market fit and moving forward there. And it's the same sort of idea as there's no point in pushing that marketing forward unless your message is right and your creative is on target and you're speaking to the right people. That's the same idea as having product market fit. It's like your message market fit or something.
I mean, when you look at agencies too, I think agencies actually fall into sort of, they're either a right-brained or a left-brained agency. There's agencies out there that are pretty much, they're like a PPC. They'll do your Google ads and your Facebook ads, and they're really good at that, at analytics and online advertising, but they don't really have the creative department in-house, and they rely on their clients or other agencies for that. At the same time, you see agencies that are all about just creativity and coming up with ideas and ads, but they don't really have the tracking and measurement side. So I think both types of agencies could benefit from sort of building at least, or hiring a couple of people who are the opposite of how the rest of the agency thinks. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, a little bit of yin and yang.
Yeah, and I think even beyond agencies, like businesses in general, whether they have those skills in-house or they're hiring an agency, sometimes people can really focus just on the numbers, as you say, and forget that it's not the tactics that lead, it's the strategy, and that strategy should be grounded in brand. At the same time, the analytics and the data help inform, where those messages are going to go and who they're going to target. But I think that the mistake that a lot of businesses make is they start with the numbers side first. And while there's information to be gleaned from that, they really work together. It's hard. I really feel that what we do can't really happen in isolation.
Yeah.
Like I can't do effectively what I do. Otherwise, I'm just like writing stuff and it's like pissing in the wind. That's right. Okay, we won't say that.
No, we're keeping that.
It's
both
just like,
would fail without the other.
Yeah.
Holding each
and
other.
that's why it was a big, I was really excited when Kyle said that he was going to hire a position like yours, because before that it was a lot for you and I to be thinking, trying to think of writing and trying to wrap my head around the analytics side of things. And this allows me to focus on the message, and I love getting information from you, even when we go, butt head sometimes on keywords and headlines. But I know we're both trying to get to the same place in the end, and at least there's something to go on, because I don't want to just write for the sake of writing. That's not marketing. That's just selfish. It's ego, right?
Yeah, you need somebody testing the landing page to be able to say, okay, we need to increase conversion on this landing page. And the hypothesis is that the headline is what's killing it. People don't really understand what's working. But then you need the right brain to kind of come up with some ideas and figure out which one should we test.
Yeah, so I'll go to Jen and give me 2 or 3 different headlines, and we'll see which one works. And then maybe tweak from there, tweak a little piece of it, and then say, okay, Jen, this word free really worked really well, so let's continue to use the word free, but then maybe in a different context.
And I think what some people don't realize is that you can't, ideally everybody wants to hire somebody who can do both of those things really well, and I don't really think that is, I mean, there might be somebody out there who can do it, but it's like when people want to hire like a really good designer who can also code. You're kind of looking for a unicorn a little bit, and they're probably not going to excel at either. I think it's the same with marketing. You can be okay at analytics, but be really good at creative, but you'll never be amazing at both, I don't think.
Yeah, it's a division of labor a little bit too. I mean, you're the founder, you're starting an agency or a company, you're trying to do all of those things. So you are kind of pulled in those different directions. But as you're growing, you're saying, okay, I need to find someone who's really good at this thing, and I need to find someone who's really good at this thing. And then they can focus and put their attention to the thing that they're really good at.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to divide.
So maybe what we should talk about is how do you find that person? I think that's sometimes the things people struggle with is what do I look for? You know, what do I write in my job ad? I think for the creative copywriter, you know, the gen type, I would look for somebody more or less self-taught, personally. I don't think that somebody you're not looking for degrees in marketing or degrees in English literature or anything like that. Like, you really want to find somebody who's out there already doing it, somebody who's they're either freelance or they're working in an agency, but they're actually executing.
I mean, there are copywriting programs at different colleges, and I don't think that's a bad thing if someone has it, but you do want to see real examples of their writing. And I think it's not just whether they're a good technical writer. You want to look at is their writing engaging? Yes, you want them to be able to put a sentence together and so it makes sense, but a lot of good content marketing and branding is about being engaging in the writing, and that doesn't mean it has to be all goofy. It's just, does it draw you in, and is there something interesting? Now, sometimes you can help somebody along with that because once you tell them about your own brand, but that is really something that's important because you've got to have somebody with a little bit of personality and who understands different personalities and how to use their writing to get the attention of your target audience.
So if you're trying to attract a gen type, I wouldn't put in your ad must excel at conversion rate optimization. Right? Like, don't include that stuff because you might get somebody really good at what you need, which is writing, and they're scared off by the thing like, oh geez, I won't fit, you know, I'm not good at that. Yeah. Whereas, like, you know, when you're trying to get a Patrick, you're not going to be saying like must be a skilled, you know, writer who's super creative with ideas and concepts, and
a little bit creativity helps.
A little, well, yeah. I'm not saying you're like a robot.
Hobbies.
Well, you appreciate creativity.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, you recognize when we've hit a
there
good
are
thing.
different types of creativity too, not just written creativity.
You're creative.
There's
with your
visual,
numbers.
there's audio, different sorts of things.
Totally. So, what was it about our job ad that attracted you to the position? You remember what I called the position?
It was growth hacker.
Growth hacker.
I do and still kind of think that the term might not last forever, the hacker part,
yeah.
which is why my title is growth marketer, but the concept I don't think will ever go away. So you're really looking for somebody who can problem solve at the end of the day. That's kind of what I get from what growth hacking really is being able to look at that information, identify what problems could be, and trying to solve those problems. So where do you find a person like that, I guess, is the question.
I mean, I think a lot of it still comes back to self-taught. Like, I know there's other people in the city that are really good with online advertising and analytics, and I don't think any of them went and took like statistics
There's no university degree for that. I mean, there are lots of courses that you can find online, but the background for it, is really someone that can problem solve. And in traditional education, you might be looking for someone who's done a little bit of math, maybe a little bit of computer science. They don't need to be able to code your website even or some back-end thing, but just someone who can think like that, but maybe apply it in a different sense.
Yeah, and passion, right?
Passion for that, yeah. Some interest actually in what you're learning and what you're looking up. There's a lot of information online that you can find. So
put you in a room with, like, you know, Andrew or some of those other people that we know locally who are super into advertising. You won't shut up about it.
You can nerd out on digital advertising. There's lots of people out there like that. Look for someone that is really passionate about it, that wants to succeed, that maybe has had a little bit of success in the past with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to say about the writing thing, about getting somebody who has some experience. Now, maybe you can't afford to hire a senior person right off the bat. You can start with a junior person. Maybe they don't have a huge portfolio, but give them some examples of what it is that you're looking for and get them to write a bit and try, because I do think that there can be some junior copywriters who, given a chance, can really do a good job. They just haven't had the opportunity. So maybe they don't have a fully fleshed out portfolio, but if you give them some parameters to try and see what they do with it, and then you can have somebody who will grow with you.
Yeah, or get a frustrated account manager, which was you. Right? Like, that was your thing at the agency that we met at. Your job wasn't a copywriter, but that was what you were actually passionate about doing. It wasn't managing accounts.
Yeah, it was awesome that I was able to kind of get my foot in the door at an agency, which wasn't some evil plan, like I'll sneak in as an account manager and trick them into thinking I'm a copywriter.
Yeah.
It's just some instances I had always been a decent writer, and there were just some circumstances where sometimes it was like, oh, well, maybe you could come up with a line. We needed something quick for a client to help fill in, even though we had a full-time copywriter, but sometimes there was like a little gap here and there, and it just went from there, and that was a really exciting thing for me, is realizing that I could take my passion and someone would pay me for it. So, like you, sucker.
If you do get a copywriter on staff, get them to write your job descriptions too, because
yeah, that's right.
Great job descriptions at Proposify.
Well, I think the problem, I mean, we could do a whole post on this, but job descriptions, people try to cram too much stuff in it, and they try to look for some, like, just unicorns that don't exist. One
of the challenges, I think, is that people, as opposed to writing code for development or something, not everybody can do that, but everybody can write. And so you can get in a situation where people don't hire a good copywriter because they think they can write. But just because you can put together a sentence technically does not mean you can write. And I think sometimes they'll just be like, oh, well, our vice president, he's going to write the copy. That's not a solution to what's going on. You need somebody who's going to focus on it and think like a writer, not as like some side thing that they're doing.
And at Patrick's point, when you have a good writer, you get them working at every level of the business. It's not just, well, you just do our blog. It's like, when we have in-app messages, Jen writes them. Basically anything customer facing has to have that consistent voice, and I mean that goes back to brand as well.
Yeah, which is something I think we do well here, and that's not just a pat on the back for me, but what I love here at Proposify is everybody's on board with that. So even if it's like a little message in the app about an instruction, the product development team comes to me for the exact wording on that, or the support team needs wording for something. So it really helps me be able to keep everything consistent because everybody's on board and gets that we need that messaging to be in line with what our brand is.
So hire a right brain marketer and a left brain marketer for your business. Hope you found this valuable. If you want more content like this, be sure to sign up to our email and get a new post every week. Thanks so much for watching.